bees. Table of contents. Buzz. Helpful bees. Pollen power. 7 cool facts about bees. A bee or not a bee. A world of bees. Home sweet home. Busy as a bee. Keeping bees. Quiz, whiz, and glossary. Buzz. Outside the sun is shining. The flowers are blooming and the bees are buzzing. When some people see bees, they run. Others might not notice the bees, but let's stop and take a closer look. Bees are helpful. Our world needs bees. Question: what kind of bee is hard to understand? It's a joke, you guys. What kind of bee is hard to understand? The answer is a mumblebee. Helpful bees. Bees help both people and plants. Honeybees make honey and beeswax. People use these things in lots of ways. Beeswax is used to make candles and cleaning supplies. Honey is sweet and delicious. A bee sits on the flower of a strawberry plant. All kinds of bees help plants make seeds. Seeds can grow into new plants. Some of those plants give us fruits and vegetables. We can thank bees for strawberries, apples, almonds, tomatoes, and many other foods. Pollen power. When a bee lands on a flower, the flower's pollen rubs off on the bee. Pollen sticks to the tiny hairs on the bee's body. Do you guys remember what those were called from our read aloud? I think it was the pollen sacs, I think. Buzzword: pollen, a sticky yellow powder made by flowers. This bee has pollen all over its body. And boys and girls, I wanted to show you a little something that I have to show you real quick. I'm going to move the book. This is a flower. This is a lily, and I'm so excited that one of these lilies opened up. This other one is still waiting to open up. But if you look right here, this is actually starting to get a little bit older, but this goldish brownish stuff is actually the pollen. A lot of it's already rubbed off. This is a little bit older. This flower's been opened up for several days, but I don't know. If I get really close, can you see how my finger's a little bit orangish? That's the pollen, and it sticks. This lily, it's really easy to see the pollen. In fact, you can see, guys, a little bit more of it came off on my pinky. But then other flowers, it's not as easy to find the pollen. On other flowers, it's kind of hidden a little bit. Here are some other types of flowers, and you would have to dig a little bit in here. You have to like dig way down in the in-between part here. Look at that. Got to get way down in here where it's a little bit darker at the center of this flower in order to even find the pollen. As you can see, my flowers are falling apart a little bit. So every flower and plant is a little different, and sometimes the pollen is easier for the bees to get at than others. Roses are another one that are awful hard to find. This rose is about ready to go in the trash can. So I'm going to go ahead. Isn't that a cool looking rose though? I'm going to go ahead and open this up gently. I'm going to just kind of get right down to the center of this rose. And would you look at that? What do we have? How many of you have ever looked at a rose like this? Did you even know that the middle of a rose looked like this? Check this out, you guys. And down in here is where the pollen would be stored, where the bees would pollinate. You can see it's not as easy. It doesn't come off as easily as my lilies did. So kind of cool. Okay, we'll get back to our chores now. Bee to another pollen from the bee brushes the new flower. This is called pollination. Now the new flower can start to make seeds. A bee leg hairs form a bee pollen into the back and flies. This pollen is used as food for babies. Pollen baskets are filled with pollen. Only female have the pollen baskets. This is so cool, guys. The size of some. This is what an empty pollen basket looks like, and you can see a little hair. This is magnified many times over. You can see these tiny hairs. And then notice pollen from my lily plant easily that brushes off. It just comes right off the skin. Do the same thing, only those hairs would trap that pollen and keep it from falling off as the bee flies. So it's pretty fascinating. If you look at the picture, you can see the pollen basket is getting quite full on this bee. This is actually the tongue of a bumblebee sticking out. We don't often see that because it is so small and so quickly, but how cool is that? Bees collect nectar from flowers too. They drink nectar with their tongues. Some bees make honey out of nectar. These bees are called honey bees. Buzzword: nectar, a sweet, sugary juice that flowers make. 7 cool facts about bees. 1. The garden bumblebee has a tongue that is as long as its body. 2. Humans collected honey from bees as early as the year 6000 BC. 3. Bees have 4 wings, 2 large wings and 2 small wings. 4. Bees can see colors. They are most likely to land on flowers that are blue, purple, or yellow. 5. Farmers often hire beekeepers to bring bees to their fields. The bees pollinate the farmers' crops. 6. Honeybees do a dance called the waggle. Scientists think that the dance shows other bees in the hive where the best nectar is and can be found. And number 7, about 1/3 of the plant food on our planet grows because of bees' pollination. So, if I took a circle and I divided it into 3 equal parts, like this. Got my circle, and I divide it kind of like a peace sign into 3 equal parts. 1/3, if this is all food, kinds of food that has grown, 1/3 of that would disappear if we didn't have bees. Bees are required to grow 1/3 of all the food in the world. That's pretty incredible when you think about that, guys. A bee or not to be? That is the question. It's easy to mistake other insects for bees. They often look alike, but there are ways to tell them apart. Take a closer look at a bee and a yellow jacket wasp, which is not a bee. Do you see what's different? So look closely. Here's the bee. Here is the yellow jacket wasp. I'm going to get a little closer with this and let's see if you guys can take a look at this. Here's the bee. It has hair all over its body that helps it catch pollen. It eats nectar and pollen from flowers, and it has pollen baskets if the bee is a female. Now let's check out the yellow jacket wasp. It eats mostly meat, such as other insects. It does not have much hair, and it does not have pollen baskets. Okay, I got another a riddle for you guys. What do you call a wasp? It's called a wannabe. Get it? It wants to be a bee. Ah. I hope you're laughing at home, otherwise Mrs. Russell's going to feel really silly. A world of bees. Most bees are solitary bees. That means they like to be alone. They're not very social. About 20,000 kinds of bees live on Earth. All bees are either solitary bees or social bees. A solitary bee makes a nest for its young. The nest is inside a hole in the ground, in wood, in walls, or in plant stems. I didn't know bees could make a nest in a plant stem. So cool. Solitary bees collect pollen, but they do not make honey or beeswax. Solitary bees are bees that live alone. Social bees are bees that live in a group. So solitary bees have to collect pollen to help feed their babies, just like social bees would. But they do not work together to make beeswax or honey. Social bees live with many other bees. A group of social bees is called a colony. A colony of bees live in a hive. Honeybees are one kind of social bee. As many as 50,000 honeybees may live in one hive. Bees care for their young there. They make and store honey in the hive too. The hive is an open space within a tree, a structure, or a box where social bees live together. Here is a honeybee hive, and you can see inside of a tree where that one is found. Okay, another riddle for you guys. What goes zub zub? Zub zub. I'll show you the picture of that too so you can see it. What goes zub zub? A bee flying backwards. Get it? Buzz buzz. Home sweet home. Inside the hive, honeybees build with beeswax. The bees mold the wax into six-sided shapes called cells. Lots of cells together make a honeycomb. A honeycomb is a sheet of six-sided cells made of beeswax. Do you guys remember what we call a six-sided shape? Did you guess a hexagon? If you did, you are right. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. The bees put nectar from flowers into some of the cells. As the nectar gets thicker, it will turn into honey. Bees eat the honey for food. Other cells in the hive hold bee eggs. There is one egg in each cell. The eggs hatch. The young bees grow and change. After 21 to 24 days, that's about a month, young bees become adults. So here's that egg. And you can see here some of the pupa as those eggs are growing after the bee cares for it. And then these are the bees that are about ready to come out. And this is a really cool picture down here, guys. It's like a timeline in pictures. Here's the egg. Comes, I believe the larva comes next, and then the pupa, and then within a few more weeks it becomes an adult. Busy as a bee. Every honeybee in the colony has a special job. These jobs keep the colony healthy and strong. There's only one queen bee. She is bigger than the other bees. She lays all of the eggs. She lays up to 1,500 eggs per day. Worker bees surround the queen. She is the largest bee in the middle. There are two other kinds of bees in the colony. This is a worker bee out collecting pollen. This is a great picture of that pollen basket. Drone bees are male bees. Their job is to help the queen make eggs. Worker bees have many jobs. They are female bees, and these females feed the queen and they care for the baby and the young bees. They build the hive and they make honey. On long flying trips, they collect pollen and nectar. They also guard the hive against enemies. Phew! Worker bees have to do a lot of work. Keeping bees. Some humans build honeybee hives out of wooden boxes. Beekeepers take care of the hives and collect the honey. Beekeepers also check the bee colonies to make sure they are healthy. Beekeepers know how important bees are to our world. They must wear special clothes to protect them from bee stings. Okay, here comes another riddle. Why did the bee get married? Because he found his honey. Does your mom or dad ever call you honey? All right, be aware. Here are some tips for staying safe around bees. Move slowly. Don't wave your arms or jump around. If a bee thinks it's being attacked, it will sting. If a bee comes near you, stand still or walk slowly away. Do not swat at a bee. Let it fly away on its own. Do not disturb any bee nest or honeybee hive. The bees will defend their home and may sting an attacker. If you're stung by a bee, put ice on the sting. If you leave bees alone, they will probably leave you alone. Okay, here comes Quiz Whiz, and then we'll take a look. All right. How much do you know about bees? After reading this book, probably a lot. Take the quiz. Answers are on the bottom of the next page. I'm going to cover them up so you can't see it. All right, number one. What do honeybees do in a hive? A, live with other honeybees. B, raise their young. C, make and store honey. Or D, all of the above. Do 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 bum be dum bum 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 bum. All right, we'll do the answers at the end. So why don't you, if you want, pause this video a minute, grab some paper and something to write with, and you could write your answers down. So number one, you can come back to in just a minute. Okay, Mrs. Russ is going to go on to number two. What is pollen? A, a kind of bee. B, a powder made by flowers. C, a kind of plant. D, a place where bees live. Number three, social bees live blank. A, they live with other bees. B, they live alone. C, they live with ants. Or D, they live with wasps. Number four, bees are helpful because they A, make honey. B, help plants make seeds. C, make beeswax. Or D, all of the above. Number five, there is only one of these in a bee colony. A, a drone. B, a worker. C, a queen. Or D, a cell. Number six, what is the name of the honeybee's dance? A, the waggle. B, the hustle. C, the wiggle. Or D, the chicken. And number seven, what does a bee do with its long tongue? A, brushes pollen into the baskets. B, drinks nectar. C, attracts the queen. Or D, sticks it out at other bees. Okay, guys. Here come the answers. Number one is D. Honeybees do all of the above. Number two, pollen is B, a powder made by flowers. 3, social bees live with A, with other bees. Number 4, bees are helpful because D, all of the above. They make honey, they help plants make seeds, and they make beeswax. Number 5, there's only one of these in a bee colony. Letter C, a queen. Number 6, what is the name of the honeybee's dance? A, the waggle. I think that's such a fun name. And number 7, a honeybee does this with its long tongue. It drinks nectar. All right, and there is our glossary. Here's a hive, an open space within a tree structure or box where social bees live together. A honeycomb, a sheet of 6-sided cells made of beeswax. Nectar, a sweet sugary juice that flowers make. You can see there's a picture of a hummingbird. They also like nectar. Pollen, a sticky yellow powder made by flowers. Social bees, bees that live in a group. And solitary bees, bees that live alone. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful National Geographic Kids book by Laura Marsh. And we'll talk later. Have a good night.